We only drink out of glass. Yeah, we don't forget the plastic. We only drink out of glass bottles. This is a high level circle with around high level men.
Something that you feel very accomplished about, and like what steps did you take in order to accomplish that goal?
Like,
Or
I would like to a reason for me, my apartment, why that was such like a big accomplishment. I know I didn't really go into detail, but like my family tree, I don't know if y'all can relate, but like it's just horrible credit, like bad credit, bad credit. So that's what we was taught. So I thought it was impossible to get my own apartment until I was like maybe 35 or 40 or something, because my credit was fucked up at a young age, just blowing it on dumb shit. So just staying disciplined enough to get my credit right and then get my apartment, like that proved to me, like, put your mind to something, you definitely can make that shit happen. So
let's go.
Yeah, I'd say a big goal that I achieved was certainly going to college and graduating. Because anyone who doesn't know my story, I was in school for like whatever the regular curriculum is. I was double that. So I went to community college.
my grandma said, yo, what, he going to be a doctor?
So when we just talk about goal setting, and just really nothing really came easy. So community college only supposed to be 2 years. I was in there for 4. Get a bachelor's degree, only had 2 years after that. I was in there for 4 more years. Probably 5. I was in school for mad long. But the point I'm trying to make is, it was just like, when we talk about goals and goal setting, I really want to get in the topic of really Chris and Devin about how you really stay in discipline with your goals. It's one thing that everybody can have a goal, right? But how are you able to stay disciplined throughout the process and have the mental strength and well-being to achieve that goal? And I think that's very important when we break down short-term and long-term goals, the ability to achieve a goal and what an actual goal looks like, and how do you set goals. So I guess one of the questions I really want to get into, Chris, Dev, even Kizzer, give me the difference between a short-term and a long-term goal.
That's a good point. So, are you talking about when you say long-term, you mean like long-term, and you have short-term goals within it, or two separate ones? So like you have a short-term goal here and a long-term goal here. I'm assuming they tie together.
Yeah, I'd say tie together.
So that's a good point. So I think in all, you always have to start in the beginning of creating a goal. Like you have to start with why. Like, why do you want that goal, right? If you just, let's say for instance, I give you an example. One of my goals last year was to lose weight. It means absolutely nothing. Like, that is the worst goal to ever fucking have in your life. Reason being, I want to lose weight means nothing. Carries no weight to it. No pun intended. But like, you have to have a why. Like, why do you want to lose weight? Do you want to lose it for health, or do you want to lose it for whatever reason it is? You have to find out why. And something that we're going to talk about in a bit, but it's like layering the 5 questions, or like the 5 whys. Like, you have to ask your someone, if you're setting a goal with someone, well, why do you want to lose weight? Well, why do you want this? Well, why do you want that? And if you could clearly define what that why is, that is what's going to be able to create that either short or long-term goal. Now, I'm getting a little off track, sorry. But when you're looking at a short-term goal and a long-term goal, long-term goal, if you think lifelong, like there's always something, you're here for a reason, right? There's a lifelong goal at the end of the day, and you break those down into shorter long-term goals and then short-term goals. So like, they should always be aligning. So like, when you have a short-term goal and a long-term goal, the biggest thing is like making sure they're aligned. And if your short-term goal does not benefit your long-term goal, why the fuck are you doing that?
Right.
So they have to align.
Right.
I hope that answers your question.
Do you have an example of that, like how, like one of your long-term goals that you divide into short-term goals in order to achieve that long-term goals?
Yeah. So.
Quick story time.
Yeah. So making 6 figures. Keep it simple. My first 6 figures, like my goal was to make $100K in a year, and it's like, okay, $100K sounds like a big number when you're just like, I want to make that in a year. It's like, holy shit, how do you do that? But if you break it down into 12 months, I'm not good at math. Sorry.
8,500, 7,500.
Divide that by 12, so that's $8,333 a month. So it was like, okay, cool. I know my check had to be at least 4K, 4 or 5K 4,500 to keep it simple. So there was times where it was like, okay, cool. That sounds a lot more achievable.
Yeah.
So it's like, or sorry, not 4 or 5. Oh yeah, 4 or 5K.
Yeah.
So like now it's like, okay, cool. That's my goal to do that. Now I had to break down the numbers in order to do that. So okay, cool. 4 and 1, and that's how we came up with the 4 and 1 slogan. If you make 4 and 1, it make you 100K.
4 and 1 is like 4 appointments a day and 1 estimate.
Correct. So it's
podcast
like
structure.
that's how we broke it down.
In terms of door-to-door terms.
Yeah,
Just
and also-
break
Well,
it
at least our job.
Yeah.
It's the other company they didn't got it like that. But
Hmm.
but like that's how I do it. So it's like, okay, 100K was a long term goal,
Mhm.
but it's like, okay, I could be tracking this or I could be doing it. It's just like, I don't know where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just like, okay, cool, that's the goal down there. It's foggy. I could go this way, I could go this way, I could go this way. It's just like, no, how do I make a simple path to A to B? And breaking it down. And then break it down to such a point where not only is it yearly, then you break it down quarterly, monthly,
Weekly.
bi-weekly, weekly if you want to, and then daily. And then now even daily, hour by hour. So
Right.
now I know hour by hour exactly what I need to be doing, how many doors I gotta hit based on like how efficient I am and like
Uh-huh.
what I gotta do every single day. And like that every day, you wake up 4 and 1, 4 and 1, 4 and 1. And it's just nonstop.
Right. Right.
Like breaking it down.
100%. I had like the reason the car I got now, my Acura. That's exactly how I got it. Like how you said, had it down. Acura 2011. I knew it cost $8,000, and I was working at like Home Depot or something at the time. Not making too much, maybe like $15 an hour or something. I knew I had to put a certain amount away each check for like maybe it was like 8 weeks or 10 weeks just to have like
The down
3,000, 4,000 saved up, and that's how I was able to get the car.
Yeah.
Have the goal and break it down smaller.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it.
You have to break your goals down smaller. If you try and do it too big, you go look at it and just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it doesn't look achievable. But if you take it in small pieces,
Mhm.
that's how you really stack your wins, and that's how you win over time.
And that's so crazy, right? Because we talk about goal setting and we talk about having these actual goals and the ability to achieve them. And those, what you guys just described, are like short term, long term, and then the actual goal itself. But I think another part to it too is the actual renewal activities that you have to do to achieve that, right? Because you're never the same person. You're not the same person. You made 20,000 last year, or how you gonna get to 100,000? Okay, you got your daily, your monthly, your yearly, your quarterly goals, but can we talk about the person that you actually have to be in
Become,
order
yeah.
to achieve that goal? Like, what investment do you have to make in yourself in order to have to achieve that goal, or what renewal activities do you have to make in order to achieve that goal, or the person you have to become to achieve that goal? So
Can I start with this one? I have like this vision. Like first of all, you really need to have a vision. Like how does that person looks like? For me, I wanna like be that 4 and 1 guy. Like wanna hit like 6 figures, but in the back of my mind, I always has a vision every day. Like he's big. He weighs like 165 pounds. He's like that. He knocks on like 120 doors every day. He sets like 4 appointments every day. Get one estimate out of that. So like that's how like my path is towards that. Like for me, having a vision is very important, and I like visualize that every day and like sit with my thoughts for a second and see it. Yep, that's how my plan is to be. Yeah.
I think, just check me if I'm answering this wrong, but for me, one, it has to be achievable. Like it has to be, the goal has to be achievable, right? I could say like, okay, cool, I want to make 200K a year, but if I never made 50K, what the fuck am I like? I can have the goal to make 200K, but if I don't even have the confidence to know that my framework is gonna be 200K, it's like, why am I setting a goal that doesn't make sense for me? So it's like, not that it's not possible. Anything's possible. But if it doesn't make sense for me in that way, like, why not just break it down? So, like, the person I had to become, like, I knew it was achievable. So it's like, I knew the person I had to become, it's almost like an intuition feeling. Like, you know damn well you can fucking get this shit if you put your mind to it. Everyone has that thought, that intuition in them that's like, yeah, I can hit this shit. I know I can.
That's so true.
There's just something missing that I'm not hitting yet. And most of the time, it's just the consistency part. It's literally just like telling yourself, like, okay, cool, this is who I am today. But tomorrow, like the next day, like I'm pushing myself to be this. Where it's like, let's say, for me to hit that 4 and 1, it was literally I knew I was being lazy. So like deep down, I was being lazy. Like I knew I could have did it, but I just wasn't. So like now once the year hit and I got flared up, I'm just like, fuck this shit, I'm fucking hitting it. It was just like that commitment that day was just like, yeah, I'm hitting this shit every single fucking day in and day out. And if I don't, I'm working Saturday. If I don't, I'm working Sunday. And it's just like I'm making it up if I don't hit it. And then let's say if the week happened, if you're not mad that you didn't hit the numbers, your goal doesn't make any sense. Like your goal, you should be angry if you don't hit it. Now, of course, you gotta work with your emotions. You don't want to be angry the whole time, but it's like you gotta go through shit as you go through it. But the things that you get hit by, like let's say you walk in a path in the desert, like you got shit that's gonna distract you. You got sand that's gonna get in your eyes. If that shit doesn't shape you as you go, it's just like it's not like that shit should beat you up. And like as you get beat up, as you go to reach your goal, it's gonna get you to the person you need to be. Yeah. And like you're gonna callous your mind, you're gonna callous your heart, you're gonna learn how to do those things. And like I'm not gonna lie, for me, one of my biggest flaws is like I didn't know how to think. And I think I mentioned this before, but like I had to literally study how to think. And I remember obsessing over this because I'm just like, yo, I am so up and down with everything and this shit pisses me off so much. I'm just like, how do I just like think like someone that's consistent? Like there's people that just seem like they're okay and like could live through life without having all these ups and downs. Why the fuck can't I do that? So like I literally just went on a fucking spree of just finding out how to think. Like I started asking people, I looked up 2 questions, things like that. Found out, I went to the summit. I'll give you an example. I went to the summit with Brandon Cruz. He's the VP of our company. And I went to summit. I was his roommate. And one time I just heard him listening to a podcast one time. It was David Goggins, but I didn't know who that was at the time. And he's just listening to him. And I'm just like, yo, who's that? Like the shit he was saying, I'm like, yo, this motherfucker sounds like he know what he's talking about. He's like, yeah, it's David Goggins. Like, you never heard him? I was like, nah. Like, what is he talking about? He was talking about like discipline, things like that. I'm like, cool. Started listening to him. Bro, I swear to you not, a week later, I'm in the van. Like, you know how, like, y'all that we driving? In the van, I'm playing David Goggins as we're driving out. Everyone's listening to it. They hate me for it. They're so mad, but I'm like, yo, I don't care. Like, I'm so rock solid about this that you guys are going to listen to this. And then next thing you know, a month later, that whole van's like, I put music on. They're like, yo, put the David Goggins on. What's wrong with you? And it started creating a culture in my van, which is pretty cool.
You had motherfuckers ready to jump in the ocean with the
Yo, and like those little things, like that's what had to shape me into that person. Like that's what made things possible. And once you get a glimpse of like some traction, like once you start getting traction and start kind of getting the train wheels rolling, it's like, oh shit. And it speeds up, you start to get it, and then momentum just starts to create, and then now it's just fucking spiraling.
Though I want to jump off what Ev said, like the person you becoming, like a big thing I think you have to realize is like the bad habits you do have. Like you can't be like blind to like the bad habits you have, because then you're never gonna get to where you want to go. Like just in order, like as this job, like eating in the morning and coming into the work feeling all heavy, like can't do that, man. Because you know what I mean, you're not gonna have a productive day out there. So now, not eating in the morning until lunchtime, now you feel better. Now I feel better. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can get through the day a lot more efficient. You know what I mean? So just realizing the bad habits you have and what you need to change up. Like I think that's a big point. Like,
and that's really what I was gonna get into, or the question that I really wanted to touch on. Like right now, we're getting to the point where I didn't have the best month I had, and my goals weren't hit, and so I had to readjust and realign what's going on. And now it's like, all right, this month we're gonna be all the way bought in. If you don't see right here, right in front of us, we got glass bottles. We only drink out of glass bottles. Yeah, we don't forget the plastic. We only drink out of glass bottles. This is a high level circle with around high level men. We gotta hit our goals. And anything, whether it's meditation, whether it's the gym, whether it's yoga. I go to yoga now. A lot of y'all ain't going to yoga. I'm going to yoga now to hit my goals. And I'm drinking out of glass bottles. So if you ain't doing that, you ain't really serious on your goals. But go elaborate what Chris said, but that was a great point. That
how you do one thing is how you do everything. So like, for example, like you achieved your goals, right? When you missed, for example, there must be a day or a week where you missed your short-term goals, right? How did you we all go through it. like missing our goals by a little, or like sometimes just like completely missing our goals. How did you handle that negative amount of emotions, like the negative spiral of emotions? How did you overcome it? Like how the winners overcome the negative things like that we all face? What's the
Don't-
difference?
Don't be a pussy about it. And when I say that, it's like probably the wrong term, but like when I say don't be a pussy about it, it's like, yo, like be honest with yourself. You know why you did not hit it. You did not do the things that you did the week before to hit it this week. Like you did not prep yourself. You did not do what you had to do. So it's like you shouldn't feel negative about it. You should just be like, yeah, I didn't fucking hit it. I know exactly why. I was being a fucking lazy piece of shit. And if you could be honest about it, it's just like you shouldn't get angry. Like you know what you didn't do. So it's like why would you get mad at yourself for something that, for one, being human, that's one. You got to give yourself grace at all times. Like you are not perfect, you are human. You have to give yourself room to grow and to learn. Yes, you are going to be lazy at times, but also too, you knew you were being fucking lazy, so therefore, what are you mad at? Just move on to the next week and do better. And it's as simple as that. Like, and if you continuously aren't able to do it, now it's at a point where okay, maybe you're pushing yourself to a goal that's like just really not achievable at the moment. Maybe you have to shorten your goal. It's just like it's okay realigning your goals because guess what? You're still going to hit that one. You still know in your mind you want to hit that one. Now it's like okay, maybe this is more achievable for the person that I need to become because I'm again walking through that path and I'm getting beat up and I'm getting too beat up where I really can't figure things out. So now it's like okay, cool. We got to lower the atmosphere a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's like just don't be mean to yourself. Be real with yourself. The most annoying thing ever is when people talk about I'm so hard on myself. You are not hard on yourself. What you are is a dickhead. You are an asshole to yourself. That's what you are. And if you were just nice to yourself and gave yourself more grace, you would understand that you're human and be able to achieve your goals a lot smoother and a lot happier if you just decide not to be mean to yourself.
It just feels like a call from that day.
Huh?
It just reminded me of a call from that day.
like how Dev said though,
That's
don't be
so
a
true.
pussy. Like I think that's like how to handle your negative thoughts though. Is like if you was to go through this life, be perfect, like never had no failures, like how you gonna teach the next person? Like you don't learn nothing through that. You're not becoming nothing. So failures is you need. I don't know no successful person who hasn't failed more than they succeeded. I don't know it.
That's
You know what I mean? So failure teaches you everything in life, and you should embrace that. Like that gets you to the next point you want to be. So
That's bars.
And like, but like that's the point of like learning how to think, right? You got to learn how to callous your mind. You got to learn how to callous your heart. Shout out David Goggins. But like, you have to do those things because I'm sure like we all have the ability to be mean to ourselves. Like we all do it. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm the same exact way. Don't get me, like I tell you these things. Don't get me wrong. I still have to fucking remind myself that like I got to do those things. And sometimes I got people that got to remind me. But it's like if I could tell you this now to understand that like yo, if you can write this down, do something to constantly remind yourself of these things. You may forget one day, but if you have a poster of it in your room and like that's your fucking motto of the year, put that shit in your room because that's your goal of the year to treat yourself nicer and give yourself more grace. Because that is step one to achieving any of your goals. You want to achieve some shit, you got to be nice to yourself
Right.
the whole time.
And you speak about being nice to yourself. I'm definitely nice to myself because when I'm going through a tough stretch, man, I go get some ice
The
cream.
ice cream,
I
boy.
go get ice cream. I say, yo, forget this. It's been a tough week. I did bad this whole week. It's been tough. I get some ice cream, man. I get some ice cream. So you got to be nice to yourself. You got to be nice to yourself. And also, it's okay to reflect and document the things you did right and wrong and see how you can get back. And also, as well, too, I know Dad said don't be a pussy as well, too, but you also got to, like, you don't be afraid to switch it up a little bit, man. Like, if you always go to the gym, you always do legs or whatever, you're at the gym, you're doing whatever, yo, go a week, play basketball 1 week. Go to the park. Like, try something different. Just that way your mind is not callous and trained and gets boring or used to doing the same things. You can trick your mind or, like, reverse engineer your mind to do something different. And it always, like, train your mind to not always be in a pattern, but to be on the fly with things and not expect unexpected. What I'm saying, so don't be afraid to switch it up. And I just think that's really good to know when we talk about goal setting.
Yeah, I think your mind is gonna shift all the time. Like for me, the 4-1, right? Like to make the 100K, there was times where I had to get more serious. There were times where I just had to focus on like, yo, I just need to have fun, right? And through all those emotions, all those times, like you realize that you need all of those things to reach the goal that you want. Like there's gonna be some days where you do get ice cream, you're on a diet. Like yeah, you can be nicer to yourself, and there's a difference between being nice to yourself and being. And I think you're talking more of giving yourself,
Grace.
no, not grace, but like rewarding yourself. Like being like, I did work hard. I do deserve this. That's one way to be nice. But when in terms of what I'm saying when I say be nice, it's like, yo, just be real. Like be real with yourself and don't be the person that's like, I'm hard on myself. Like don't be that guy. It's so annoying to just be like, yo, I'm hard on myself. Like, oh, I'm really hard on myself. Like it's just like, yo, dog, you're not hard on yourself. You're just mean. Just chill the fuck out. Like, chill out, talk to you, and just fucking chill the fuck out.
That's good advice, because I struggle with that a lot.
It's
A lot of people
hard.
struggle
Don't get me
with
wrong.
Man,
Yeah.
listen, if I don't hit my goals or I have a bad week, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, it's so true. It
Or
happens.
talk to somebody, man. Now, I'm just a different person where I can go weeks without talking to people. I promise you I'm good.
But you just, right, and you'll get back on it. But you just gotta remind yourself in the moment, like, and it's tough. Don't get me wrong, but when I say that, it's like you have to remind yourself in the moment, like, yo, I don't have to be here, though.
Yeah.
I could be in a whole nother country. I could be in a third world
I was about to
country.
say, no pun intended.
Wait, what?
No, when you said I don't have to be here, no pun intended. You said I can be somewhere in a different country. I'm saying like no pun intended. Like
Yeah, now I'm lost on that one.
I don't
Oh.
know. Their humor. Old man humor.
All right.
some people get that mixed up. Like you don't have to be here.
Oh, no.
You can just.
Nah, but what I'm saying is like you don't have to be alive. Like you don't have to have the opportunity to be alive. You don't have to have the opportunity to knock on doors. You don't have to have the opportunity to even have legs. And it's like sometimes you really gotta remind yourself and be grateful. Like yo, it is okay to be exactly where I'm at. God has allowed me to be here, but God not even allowed me to be here. God has blessed me to be here in this moment to be able to lose and be able to learn more. And if you're not talking to yourself like that, you are being a dickhead. You're asking about frameworks, and I think this is super important when you're making any goal, right? Have you guys ever heard of SMART goals?
No.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah,
Is the
I
thing. So you have. So what SMART goals are is SMART. So the acronym. Back up, kids. Is specific. So S is specific. M is measurable. A is achievable. R is relevant, and T is time bound. So like, in order to make a personal goal, right? For instance, my goal, I'll give you an example. My goal this year is to run a marathon. Like that's just my goal for the year. Now you have to break that down. To run a marathon means nothing. It has no weight to it, right? You have to make it specific, right? I made it specific. Like I want to run. It's just like, okay, but I want to run a marathon. Like that is a specific goal that I want to do. Now you have to make it measurable, right? And what, not time frame, but like, how is it measurable? So like meaning that like, for example, when you guys are in the van, right? Someone's like, how many appointments you want today, Kizzer? They'll be like, oh, I want
4 and 1 on the day.
hold on. But it's more of like, oh, I'm gonna set as many as I can. That is not a fucking goal. That is a bullshit excuse for you to fucking have an easy way out, right? The question is like, okay, cool. What do you want to hit today? Okay, cool. I want to hit 6 appointments. Cool. How are we gonna get there? That's measurable. So how are we gonna get there? I want to run a marathon. How are we gonna get there? I'm gonna practice running all year. I'm gonna practice and make sure my mileage is going up all year, right? Specifically, I'm going up 10% each month. Each week as I run, starting from 5 miles. I'm going up 10% based on my weekly mileage, and adding up each way all the way up to the marathon. So that's how I'm gonna measure it. Now it has to be achievable. Can I actually do this? Now, to make this realistic, I had to realign my goals this year. So my goal was to do 10% each week throughout the year, but I ended up getting injured. I had to realize that, okay, my body can't handle up to a certain mileage yet. So I had to decrease the amount.
Yeah,
So
percentage.
sometimes you have to realign your goals. It's just my body can't take it yet. So that's the measurable. Achievable, it wasn't achievable at the time. So I had to restart it to make it achievable. Now I'm restarting. I'm at 5 a day, which means I could be at 15 for the week, which means now next week I'm only gonna go up 2 miles, so I'm gonna be at 18. And then the next week after that, I'll go up 2, and I'm gonna creep it back up because I was at 25 at one point. So I'm gonna creep it back up, but now I'm a lot stronger, so I can probably withhold a little bit more. But then as I get closer, I'm dropping it down to 1 mile, adding on to the week.
Right.
And then I'm also, my short-term goal as well is to run a half marathon. So I'm doing that in June. So that's kind of like my achievable side of it. Now I have to make it relevant. How is it relevant to my whole process, just in my lifelong goal, right? I like why do I want to do it essentially? So how does it align to my lifelong mission, right? My yearly mission. My yearly mission is to run the marathon, but like, how does it align with my lifelong goal? How does it align with my mission? I enjoy being fit. Like, I enjoy feeling like I achieve things. I also like being fit. It makes me feel good. But like, I like the sense of achieving because it makes me feel like I actually did some shit. And I also like helping people. So like, for me, it's about me, but also too, it's about showing my people, like the people that look up to me, that like, yeah, you can do it. Like, if I don't get any better, you're not gonna get any better. And I know that because it's just like, that's just the law of the lid.
Kind of jump off what Dev said, like law of the lid. I was watching some video and it was a jar full of fleas. You know, fleas could jump really high and stuff like that. And they put these fleas in a jar. They was jumping out of the jar, stuff like that. And then they put the lid on the jar for about 2 weeks. And then the fleas were only jumping maybe like an inch or 2 in the jar. So they wasn't even going all the way up to the lid. And then 2 weeks later, he removed the lid off of the jar. And the fleas were just still jumping at 2 inches, even though the lid was off. It was just like a product of their environment.
Yeah.
Just became what they were surrounded by. So.
100%. And like, that's the point. Like, if I'm not constantly growing and making that jar bigger and bigger and bigger, I only can expect but so much from my people, or they're just gonna not follow me anymore because they see more in themselves. So that's that. But has to align with the lifelong mission, so it has to be relevant. And then last one's gonna be time bound. Your goal, that's the T in SMART. Your goal has to have a certain time. This is probably the most important part at all of them, because if you don't have a deadline, and if you don't hit your goal by that deadline and you're not upset about it, your goal wasn't that fucking important. That's not what you really wanted. But like, it has to have a deadline. So for instance, my goal for this year was to run a marathon by the end of Q3. And I was gonna do that through training, and then up to going a 10% increase each week, week over week, until I got to the marathon. I was supposed to run it in June. But now my goal is to go up, like I said, the mile every week, 2 miles, and then the mile breaking down after a certain amount of time. But now my goal is to run a marathon by the end of Q3. So like, you have to just make it time bound, basically. That's it. But yeah, whenever you make a goal, a personalized goal, or for your team, or let's say you guys are in the van, SMART goal is a good way to work around. So like, for example, I'm sure you've heard people, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm sure you hear people saying in the van like, oh, I'm gonna just hit as many as I can today. It has to be specific. How many do you want today? Now, if you hear someone that says like, oh, I want to hit as many as I can today, now the conversation is like, yo, hold up. We're talking a confidence issue, because now you're scared to put a number on it because you're scared that you won't hit that goal. But the problem is you're not nice to yourself. You see how it always goes back to you being mean to yourself to a point where you will shit on yourself for not hitting that goal, rather than be nice to yourself and give yourself the room to learn how to hit that goal.
Yeah.
So that's big on specific. So if you ever run into that, and then measurable, making sure like, okay, cool, you want to hit 6. Let's say they want to hit 6 that day. How are they gonna hit that 6? Like, what's your process? Right. Are you gonna, okay, cool, I gotta hit 3 in the first half and 3 in the second half. Cool, that's measurable. So now when halftime comes, I can come and talk. I can give you a call and be like, hey, where are you at right now? Oh, I'm at 2. Okay, cool. Can you hit 6? I don't know. I feel shaky, but okay, cool. Let's realign our goals so that way it's more achievable. Right. So now it's achievable and makes sense.
Would you change your goal?
100%. I will reassess my goal. If it doesn't seem achievable, I won't. I'll go for it, but it's just like, I won't make it like, okay, if I have 2, it's like, it's all good. Like, I can still hit that. Now you have a minimum, right? My minimum was always 4. So it's like if my goal was always higher than my minimum, of course. So it's like at the end of the day, if I hit 4, I'm in okay territory. But my goal is the 6. So
would you rather change the goal or change the way to achieve the goal?
so
Ooh.
good question. So it's gonna depend, right? Let's say if my goal is to hit 6 appointments in that day, right? And I'm at 1 by the half. Hitting 6 don't seem that achievable anymore. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna rearrange my goal. Now, if I'm at 2 and my goal is to have 3 by the half so I can hit 6, I still might hold that goal and rearrange how I'm gonna get in my process. So I'm gonna rearrange how I measure it. It depends. It depends on who I am. If I've never hit 6 before and I hit 2 in the first half, it's gonna be a little bit tougher. Like I might shift my goal a little bit, which is okay. Like it's not the end of the world. Like you have the opportunity. The best thing about the job is you have the opportunity to hit your goals.
What
every
you're
day.
trying to say is like it's okay to change the goal.
Your short term, yeah. 100%. Like if I can't, like let's say,
You need to put in the whole work also in order to change it.
like you have to make it make sense. Like if it's not achievable, it's not achievable. Like it's just,
You're never
it is
gonna
what
hit
it
that
is.
goal no matter what. If
What'd
it's
you
not
say?
achievable.
What'd you say?
You're never gonna hit that goal no matter what if it's not the goal is not achievable for you to hit.
Right, and you could add up to those days for it to a point where you're gonna hit it. But the big thing is like stacking your dubs. So it's like, yeah, you want to push yourself. Like for instance, if when you are having a conversation and you're like, yo, I want to hit 6 today, I'm be like, oh shit, all right, Adrian trying to get after it today, right? Adrian, you ever had 6 before? And you tell me no. It's just like, yo, what's the most you ever had? 3. Okay, cool. I love that you want to get 6. Like, don't worry, I'm not gonna shoot your dreams out. I love that you want to get 6. But yo, let's hit 4 first. If you hit 4 and then go after 6, let's fucking do it. But yo, how do we get to 4? Do you know how to get to 4? Do you know what the process is to get to 4? Nah, I don't. All right, cool. So yo, I'm not saying not to hit 6. What I'm saying is, yo, let's hit 4. And like if we hit 4, let's fucking go. You did a great job. But when you hit 6 too, that's gonna be sick too. But yo, let's focus on the process on how to hit 4 and get consistent with that. And now at that point, now it's like you don't feel like shit because it's like, oh, he believes in me. But it's just like, yo, make it make sense. Like if you've never had 6 before, if you've never had 4 and your goal is 6, it's like you're shooting for the stars, but you don't even got a ship.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are we talking about? It just doesn't make sense.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about? How you gonna get to
like,
100,000?
So you believe in like the
You can
goal
even
that we
make
have
50
should be
yet.
like optimistic and
Smart
realistic, right?
goals.
Always.
It should be achievable, yes. You should know, like, you should know it's possible. If I told you right now, my goal is to hit 1 million this year, it's just like, cool, I'm sounding good. It sounds good. I've never even fucking made 500K before. I don't know how to make 500K.
Exactly.
It's not that it's not possible.
So we should know the importance of like setting a particular goal.
A realistic goal.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
100%.
So you like want to say something about that too?
Elaborate.
About
Proceed.
like emphasizing on like setting a real goal, not like an imaginary or a goal in the air, like the same way you said. Like I want to make million this year,
Mhm.
but I never made 500K. So your main goal should be 500K, and your small steps should be like 100, 200, and 300K.
100%.
Like you should be like emphasizing on that.
100%. Yes.
But let me add off of that as well too. Even if your goal 1 million and you have a goal for 1 million, and then you say if you never hit 1 million, you should start small and be 500K. You gotta also go off of what you did in the past as
Correct.
well too,
100%.
because you got to go for 1 million. You shoot for 500K. You ain't even make 100K last year. So how you gonna even get there? So there's time in the process, but you have to go off what you previous did, and then go up from there as well too.
100%. And it goes back to what you were saying before too, but like the person it takes to reach that goal. Like if your goal is a year long and you're not even the person to make 100K, you're not the person you need to be to make 200K. What the fuck makes you think you're gonna be the person to make 1 million?
Yeah.
And I'm not being a dick about it. It's just like,
Just be
you
real.
make it make sense. It's not that you can't do it. It's just, yo, take steps to get there. And let's say you hit that goal. Let's say your goal is 100K and you hit 150 or you hit 200. It's like, yo, now I know I'm a 200K guy. Cool. I've now hit a new lid. Now it's okay, cool. Now how do I make that lid even, how do I make that jar bigger?
In short, you need to learn the importance of setting small goals rather than the big ones. Like the big ones are already there, but the smaller ones are way more important to reach the big one. You know?
I think it just goes back to the beginning that like breaking your goals down.
Yeah.
does it make sense? If I want to make 100K, if I want to make $1 million a year, I have to make 250K each quarter. Again, it might go higher or lower, but my goal should be 250K each quarter. And then what is that a month?
250K in 3 months. What's that?
Chris,
About
don't
3
even
months.
bother.
So that's 83,000 a month. And it's just like, can you do that? Like, if you can do that a month and you broke down, it makes sense to you, yeah. But if you're in your head like, whoa, that's a lot. It's just like, yo, it's all good. Break it down a little bit and make it make sense for you.
Yep.
Yeah,
The journey is more beautiful than the destination.
that
There
too.
you go.
That's
That's a
the
fact.
big thing, because when you get to the destination, like you just feel like, all right, I'm here. Like,
What's next?
it's like you said, the journey. The journey is everything.
It's worth it.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. That's the
He
biggest.
taught me that it's important. Enjoy the journey, or you'll be like, damn, what am I even doing? It's really worth it.
Yeah.
Mhm. So something I feel accomplished about, cause in my family, you know what I mean, it's a lot of people that's still they haven't moved out, you know, on their own. So accomplishments that I have that holds dear to me is moving out on my own and having my own apartment.
So,
That's pretty big to me. Shows me that I can do it, and it's possible. You know what I mean? So I love that one, and I believe getting my car and paying that off. That was a big one for me.
and when you pay it off?
Huh?
When you pay it off?
It took 3 years, but
That's fine.
2 years ago I got it paid off.
Fire.
But those the two biggest ones.
That's fire. That was
Apartment
that
and
was,
the car, man.
that was in Walmart checks. I was paying that car off.
Walmart was paying a lot of stuff off. Shout out to Walmart, man. If you know, you know.
Hey man, I was benefiting too.
Yeah.
My bad. That
It's
was
the past. It's the old you.
It's the old. It's the old. Right?
There's an older you also.
What about you, man? What's some of your accomplishments?
Yeah, kids. What's a goal that you feel very accomplished? Something that you feel very accomplished about, and like what steps did you take in order to reach that goal?
That's a great question. Like some of the things.
Damn, you heard that? Yo, you're locked in.
You know.
Y'all don't know what we talking about? Buying questions.
we know.
Whenever there's a buying question. All right, cool. My fault. By the way, if there's ever a
We
buying
know,
question, that's a great question. Anyway, continue. My bad.
So first of all, having my own apartment that I share with my brother, having my own car, and then like I had my first business when I was 16. That is one of my biggest accomplishment I ever had. So I started it when I was 16. It was like a video editing agency. We used to edit for people like big YouTubers, somewhere along the lines of Mr. Beast, who like used to make videos similar to him. We used to edit for them. Like we made like $10,000 with it, like 8 to or 12 months. And I was like, damn. And we were in Pakistan. We were like the big dogs. I was like, damn, that's a hell of money over there. Living the dream life. That's what's up.
Yo, Adrian in the back. What's going on? How you feeling?
What's up, fella?
Y'all don't get to
How you
see
doing,
Adrian in the
man?
back, but huge shout out. Don't even come in here yet. You got to be anonymous all the time.
All right, word.
But just a huge shout out also to to Adrian as well. He is the person behind the scenes that makes all these videos possible. Clear, all the cuts, all the goofing off that we have in between. He makes us look good. So I want to thank Adrian too. But Adrian, outside of this, what's a goal or something you feel very accomplished about? And like, what steps did you take in order to reach that goal?
First of all, same with my brother, having an agency, video editing agency, and scaling it to like 10K a year from like a third world country.
Like $10,000 a year?
Yeah,
That's
we
fine.
made like $10,000 in like 8 to 12 months of span.
So I think the best way to describe that was 10,000 in Pakistan versus here.
It's a lot.
Like, and the living style and all that kind of stuff. And you lived in America. How much would an American have to make in order to live the same lifestyle that you did that year?
Oh, now I get the way.
I-
So it would be like, I don't know, he should be making at least like, I don't know, he needs to make like 8 to 10K a month in order to achieve the lifestyle we were living.
So 8 to 10K. So you're talking like 100, almost between 100,000 and 150,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
now.
so sorry, finish it.
6-figure guys right there.
Yeah, that was hella money
we were,
over there.
like me and Khizar were literally in our prime when we were in Pakistan.
I'm in my prime right now. Still.
Yeah, he's in his prime and I am coming into my prime from my business. And now the biggest achievement for me is like quitting door to door, taking all the experiences, and starting my own IT company, scaling the business to 5 figures, meeting high value network people, networking with them, making friends, and all that stuff, and scaling the company to 6 figures in a year.
Alright.
Not in a year, in months.
Let's go. That's
So
the
that's
goal.
like the biggest accomplishment for me, and buying my own apartment and moving out. Not technically moving out, but moving out.
Wait, so you're saying you made 5 figures, or you're
My
going?
company-
You're trying to make.
My company currently is at 5 figures right now, monthly.
Gotcha.
And if you take it to the yearly, it's 6 figures.
Gotcha. It's fire. Let's go.
You know, in like a month, like in few months, I literally scale the company to like 5 figures per month.
Let's go.
Starting from scratch, nothing, no connections, no everything.
So at the end of the year, with you keep on scaling it within 5 figures yearly, what's your projected net worth at the end of the year? How much revenue did you make? Net worth
So
though,
if
net
we
worth.
if we go in future December,
Yeah.
that's where gonna be I'm gonna be projecting the revenue.
Thanks again for checking out D2D Podcast. I appreciate your guys' support. Please check out our last video over here, and you could click on the subscribe below. But check us out on Instagram as well, or TikTok. We're ready to shoot to the moon, baby. Let's get it.